Hello there, it's me, James, creator and host of this show, Dakota Spotlight. I'm starting a new podcast network with new shows and exciting things to come, including more seasons of Dakota Spotlight. And to celebrate this launch, I'm rebroadcasting Season 2, Zeeland, about the very tragic murders of two innocent people in 1976, Wade and Ellen Zick. In addition to episode 1 this week, as an added treat, I'm also releasing this updated bonus episode from 2019, an interview with Peter Hicks, the singer, songwriter, and member of Sleepy Driver, the band and the music behind this season. I interviewed him in 2019, and as you will now hear, I talked to him again in 2024. Peter shares his thoughts about Zeeland, the story, and also some insightful childhood stories about his personal discovery of music. We will also hear the original interview with him where he walks us through each of the songs in this season, Zeeland. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here. You Dakota Spotlight Plus members get this episode before others and without any ads. Become a Plus member at dakotaspotlight.com. Here is my interview with Peter Hicks. Peter Hicks, it's an honor to talk to you again. How are you up there in Canada?
Very good, James. It's a cold January night, 2024. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked. Years now since I produced Zeeland, and we collaborated with your music and everything, and thought I'd touch base with you as I am doing a rebroadcast of Zeeland, sort of celebrate the next phase of Dakota Spotlight, going out on my own, so to speak, doing this independently, as I did in 2019 with Zeeland. And I thought I would just kind of kick it all off with a rebroadcast, and that's had me listening to it again and thinking about our great collaboration. I just wanted to check in with you and see what's new in your part of the world, and once again to thank you for all of the great music we got to hear in season 2.
Thank you very much as well, and also congratulations on this new venture. It's exciting. I feel like that, and I don't mind saying that in many ways, providing the music for season 2, it was reinvigorating for the band in a lot of ways, because it was an exciting change from the day to day. It allowed us to revisit and reimagine some of the music that we had already made, in providing some instrumental versions and really digging into some of the textures of the music. So for the musicians that were involved in it, in Sleepy Driver, it was almost stripping back the songs and finding all the pieces that we had put into that music and bringing some stuff to the forefront that was in the background. And anyway, it was great for us from a creative side.
Yeah, that makes me so happy to hear. I mean, as a creator myself, I know that feeling, and that makes me feel really good that it was a good experience for you guys too. And I've interviewed you before, and we talked about specifically some of the songs, and I'm going to play some of that here in a minute, and then we can talk some more afterwards. But just in general, what's new with you? Any news in your life and on music, or any kind of news? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, musically, with Sleepy Driver, there's a funny thing that happened with the whole world, really, which was the pandemic, and I don't really want to talk about it because we had an album back in 2020 that came out, and like many other artists at the time, anything that was released was kind of you're throwing it to the wind and hoping somebody catches it. But it was impossible to promote, so a lot of that didn't really catch on. It was probably one of those soul-searching couple of years for the band, and time to kind of reflect after a period of not doing anything and figure out what we wanted to do. And I'm happy to report that we now have the better part of a new album that's about to come out, and we're targeting spring of 2024. Yeah.
In the spring, huh?
Yeah.
I can't wait. It seems like you guys have been doing quite a bit. I like these Christmas songs. You want to tell us anything about that?
Well, yeah, actually, they've been around for a few years anyway, and we hadn't actually formally released them. Kind of just shared them around, so we decided that we'd put them out there. To people who knew us, they weren't a surprise.
I really liked them. I thought they were great, and I don't think I had heard them before. I thought they were great. I really enjoyed them.
Well, yeah, thanks. And with one, I mean, it's a typical upbeat one, Christmas Bells. It's a typical upbeat song that happy sing along, and the other one is probably the more reflective side, one called Shining Star, which is kind of more of a reflective Christmas song what happens for folks around the holidays, maybe if they don't have family around, if they don't have loved ones to share it with, if coming up on New Year's, just thinking about the past and thinking about the future. And it's not quite Charles Dickens, but it was at the same time, it's nice to do a spin on Christmas. It's not all candy canes and Santa Claus.
No, I thought they were really good. And I always really appreciate your songwriting. I want to talk to you more about your process a little bit and your lyrics and things like that. But first of all, I want to play some of this original interview I did with you because we get in and talk about the specific songs from Zeeland. So let's do that now, and then we'll be back and talk some more. I want to hear about your thoughts on Zeeland, and again, a little bit more about yourself. And then we're going to tell people how they can support both of us, actually, and get their own digital copy of the music from Dakota Spotlight Season 2. We'll tell everyone about that. So let's do that now, and we'll be right back. I came across your song North Dakota on Bandcamp, which we can talk about Bandcamp a little bit, but I just asked you, is there any path to that you would allow me to use some of your music in the podcast? And you accepted, so I just wanted to ask you, why did you accept to collaborate with Dakota Spotlight?
Yeah, well, there were a few things at play there, and I think that the greatest thing is, as far as the influencing factor, was me going to your website and seeing what you had produced to date. So listening to the season 1 and seeing just the website presence and things like that. But also one of the things that you might not know about Sleepy Driver is that through the albums, there are actually quite a few murder ballads. We were actually kind of mapping out an album of murder ballads for the band to produce, and it would be more of a collection because over the span of the albums there are a few interrelated songs that if you kind of thread them together kind of form a narrative. And so we were planning our own murder ballad album, and I thought, wow, to get involved in providing the atmospheric music or the soundtrack to a true crime podcast really ties into our own concept really nicely.
The driver killed the engine, and the hum of the blue and white vehicle was replaced briefly with the pre-dawn silence of the North Dakota prairie. All 5 exited the car. Holding a shotgun, one of the young men that's what a great coincidence, or whatever you want to call it, because I want to say I contacted you fairly late in this whole process. I started on this in May last year, and I don't think I contacted you before, what we have, Thanksgiving, somewhere around there. And now I can't even imagine season 2 without your music. I can't imagine it.
Oh yeah, well, and it's quite something. I'm getting my own feedback from our fans here who are loving the fact that they're listening to something, and then here come the familiar notes of Sleepy Driver kind of creeping into the background.
David Feist pointed their new $900 1969 Pontiac Catalina towards Canada and hit the gas. As they churned out the last few hundred miles to the border, it's tempting to wonder what was going on in their minds. Was Gregory Huber thinking of his mother and his family? Was David Feist thinking of his girlfriend in Selby, South Dakota? As the landscape of the Pacific Northwest rolled by them, did they think they were going to get away? And if so, what would they do in Canada?
a quantum of sun between what once was and what's begun.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of your music, in your opinion, or to support you?
Sure. Well, I guess as the starving artist, as you like to put it, the best way is always to buy directly from the band, and you can do that through Bandcamp. So sleepydriver.bandcamp.com is a place where we are hosting and selling our music both digitally and CDs. Really, we're available on all of the streaming platforms as well. And realistic enough to know that people consume music in all different ways, and I think it's just flattering that people are looking for us and listening to us no matter what the vehicle.
Let's talk about some of your songs that I used in season 2, shall we?
Sure, yeah.
Should we start with the most obvious one, North Dakota? I mean, I didn't ask you before, are you the only songwriter of Sleepy Driver, or how does that work?
I am actually the only songwriter on for Sleepy Driver. So North Dakota and actually all of the albums, with the exception of I think one tune on one of our later albums, I'm the sole songwriter. So music, melody, and lyrics. So the band, obviously it wouldn't be a band without band contributions. So I mean the songs are arranged and performed by everybody in the group, but the actual core songwriting is all me.
Well, that's fantastic. So let's tell us about the song North Dakota.
And I'm going far away.
I'm the type of songwriter that strap on my acoustic guitar and I walk around the living room for sometimes hours at a time and play through chords and sing random melody lines, etc. until something sticks. With this song in particular, it was actually written in probably less than half an hour from beginning to end.
And I'm jealous of the sun, 'cause it sees you every day. And I'm gonna
While North Dakota, I've never actually been to North Dakota, and
right.
but it was one of those things where I was trying to think about somewhere that just captured country and isolation and things like that, getting away from the big city, right? And so North Dakota kind of came to mind, and then some of the other lyrics, this would be maybe a surprise to some of my family, but some of them are inspired by love letters that my great uncle had written back in wartime. Yeah, the line in particular, I'm jealous of the sun because it sees you every day. He had a line in one of his letters that was very similar to that. I wish I was the sun so I could see you every day.
And I'm sleeping in my car with the radio on and the wind.
I guess I didn't ask you, how did you guys come up with the name Sleepy Driver?
Well, if we want to go right back to, I was noticing a real trend in the songs that I had written at that point, in that a lot of them had to do with driving, and a lot of them had to do with coming from or going to someone that you love, and sometimes in love, or in reconciliation, or seeking forgiveness, or you're getting away from something. But it was just a lot of relationship songs that involved driving. And even North Dakota, for instance, that whole concept of you're on the road and you're putting yourself to the point of exhaustion because you just need to get somewhere. Yeah, Cold Black River is a song I think is more just some of the lyrics in it kind of capture that idea of somebody who knows right from wrong, but they always choose wrong. You know, I've got a good heart is the first line, but you know, it's all about, you know, getting caught in the current of you know, bad intentions. Yeah, well, mile marker is one of those things it's about people who know that they have strayed from the right path, and they know that you know, they've done something wrong. But in this song in particular, when it goes to the chorus, the night of the fire, you know, basically just realizing that what you could lose. So I think the main hook of the chorus is, you know, hold me like you never will again. And it's so it's like, no matter how far away that you get from you know, right, or, you know, maybe doing somebody wrong, there is always a way back. And sometimes it's by being humble and you know, hat in hand. So
yeah, it's a great song. Of those three, which one do you think I should play for listeners right now, of those three versions of Mile Marker?
I really like the acoustic version of Mile Marker.
Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah. We'll play that one. We'll just play that right now.
Great.
Count 'em up, son, between what once was and what's begun. A mile marker, count 'em off, kid, between what we should do and what we did. And I know your face like the back of my hand, and I've dreamed of you all across this land. And maybe one, maybe two, maybe 3 days in, I'm losing track of where I've been. And the night of the fire, when I got home, when I came through the door, you said, hold me. Julianne, how do you tell? what you give and what you sell. And now, innocence, where did you go? You're off learning things you shouldn't know. And the night of the fire, when I got home, when I came through the door, you said, hold me like you never will again. 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 Mile marker, count 'em up, son. Between what once was and what's begun. A mile marker, count 'em off, kid. Between what we should do and what we did.
Okay, so that was Mile Marker, the acoustic version by Peter Hicks. We're talking to Peter Hicks. And let's move on to some of these other songs. So I'm going to actually play this one for a second for myself right now. Draw the Curtains Down. I'm pretty sure I used that in a scene where just after the 3 assailants were arrested and were brought back to North Dakota.
Sure. Well, I think with that one, it's very much worthwhile to note the other guys in Sleepy Driver for this. John Heinstein is the name of the guy who plays the keyboards, and Dave Palmer is the pedal steel player, and both are just phenomenal players. And the pedal steel in particular. Is played with just such emotion that I find it incredible.
Dear editor, about the couple in Zeeland who were murdered, is this the kind of life we are to lead? For robbers to go out and kill others like rabbits on the run? Innocent people? Is this the kind of life we in North Dakota are to have? Is our country a land of freedom? To the people of Zeeland, friends and family of the murdered couple, don't you think we should do something about this to protect the innocent? Or will there be a next one?
And now, back to my recent interview with Peter in 2024. What did you think, or did you have any thoughts on Zeeland, the story itself, sort of my side of this collaboration we did? We've talked a lot about the music, but I don't know that we've talked that much about the story.
I found the whole thing fascinating and frightening and just kind of thrilling. I mean, if it was fiction, it would make a great story. It would make a riveting movie. And just the fact that it's real life and the whole idea of abduction and robbery and everything else that goes along with it, it makes it frightening. With me as a parent, with me as a child, thinking of my own parents, having these things happen in the real world, it hits home. I think, So I really found the story fascinating, gripping, but difficult to swallow.
Yeah, it's just so. People talk about senseless crimes. Talk about senseless. It was so senseless. There's no reason, even if they had to rob the bank, there was no reason for them to die. There's just no sense in any of it.
And, the amount of money that they got out of it, there was no reason for it. I mean, other than the pure evil of it all, right? So.
Well, let's talk about something a little more uplifting, hopefully. Do you have any recollections from childhood or did you ever start thinking, hey, I want to be a musician, or when did you get started, or any memories that you regarding music?
Yeah, I do actually. I've got a few. I mean,
awesome.
My household wasn't really a musical household. We did have a piano in the house, and that came from my grandmother, who I never ever saw play it. And then when she passed, the piano came to our house, and I would plink around on it every once in a while, but I wasn't really wanting to play Three Blind Mice or things like that. And piano, I wasn't really drawn to it as an instrument. But my fascination with music, my father used to go away for work every once in a while, and his MO would be to come home with gifts for my brother and my two sisters. But one time he came home with 4 record albums. He came home and he handed each of us an album, and it was my brother, he got Meatloaf, and my sister, younger sister, she got I think the Grease soundtrack, and then my older sister got Sean Cassidy, and the last one to me was Kiss. And I can remember the Love Gun album. It was just what is this? I was young at the time. And it's funny how that at our ages informed our musical tastes at the time, right? Because I was probably around 10 at the time when I got this. And I was fascinated by it just by the cover alone, because I hadn't even heard the music. I hadn't heard Kiss, but the cartoonish aspect of it, just that their makeup and everything kind of drew me in.
Yeah, of course.
A lot. So I listened to that album a lot. And I to this day, I have a lot of nostalgia for Kiss. It didn't really direct me down the kind of glam rock.
No, that's not what I think of when I think of Peter Hicks and Sleepy Driver. It's not
Sleepy Driver. No, not at all. But that's first what got me interested in kind of rock and roll, and then later on, it was probably a couple of years later at the family camp, late at night, you could pick up the radio stations from all over. Up in the loft where my radio was, and I would be picking up Boston and New York and all these different places, and hearing the Talking Heads and Leonard Cohen and all these other bands. And I was 12, 13 at the time, and just thinking, what is this music? This is awesome, because I hadn't heard it on local radio at all. Didn't even know that Leonard Cohen was Canadian, for that matter. But, or for instance, the Talking Heads, just that new wave kind of punk sound at the time. So that started to inform me a little bit more. And the last thing that kind of steered me in the music direction, these were all kind of musical discoveries, was music class. And I was in middle school at the time, and our music teacher, every Friday, he would allow a student to bring in a record from home and play a song. And so I can remember one of my classmates brought in Van Halen from the first album and put it on, and I was sitting there, and it came on, and again, it was one of these, what is this that I'm hearing? This is so amazing. And it wasn't a week and I had on my Christmas list that I wanted a guitar.
Well, I don't want to forget to let people know about how they can support you. And I've talked about it before, but bandcamp.com is a great place to support musicians. And in your case, it would be sleepydriver.bandcamp.com. But we also want to tell you about something fun happening here. Peter and I have been talking And basically, for this new giant leap I'm taking with Dakota Spotlight out on my own again and creating a podcast network, Peter and I are offering you top tier subscribers of Dakota Spotlight Plus. So you, in the ultimate tier, if you sign up for Dakota Spotlight Plus in the ultimate tier, you get your own copy of the music from Dakota Spotlight by Sleepy Driver and Peter Hicks. And don't worry, he will get paid as well. You'll be supporting both of us. And to find that, go over to dakotaspotlight.com and check out Dakota Spotlight Plus. Peter, this is a real fun. And once again, we're collaborating. So just thanks again.
Well, I honestly, as I said earlier, I think this is a great collection because it's, and I'm not just saying that because it's our music, but it's versions of our music that have not been available on previous albums. So there are instrumental versions of some of our signature songs. There are, alternate takes of acoustic versions of some of the songs, whereas they're full band on the album, and just reimagining some of the music so that it can fit within the story and fit within the podcast. I know as a band, we may have our day jobs, and this is a serious hobby, if you will. But we continue to make music because people buy the music and people support us by seeing us live.
So, Peter, how can people follow you and your band? What's the best way to follow you? On social media and things like that?
Sure. Well, on social media, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. On Facebook, just find us on search for Sleepy Driver. You'll find us there. Instagram, we're sleepydriver.ig. And on YouTube, search for Sleepy Driver, and you will find us there. And all the latest news, any of the new music releases and upcoming events, just drop on, say hello. We'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. And I will put all of those links in the show notes for this episode that you're listening to right now. Peter Hicks, thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
I hope you enjoyed this extra bonus episode this week. I so appreciate you all being here. There is no podcast without you, after all. My name is James Woolner, and I will see you next time on Dakota Spotlight.
And I'm sleeping in my car with the radio on and the windows down, and I'm up before the dawn. Before this heartache gets the best of me, I'm gone and moving on from that city of the lost, of a divide and conquer that I don't wanna know. And I'm bound for North Dakota, to where they got more sky.